Jermaine struggled
What?
for years with dental issues before finally.
Get out of here, Jermaine.
She's got. That's funny as hell. An ad came up.
Perfect. What's up, Jermaine? Give thanks and praise, everybody. Much
What's
love
up?
and respect. Chris
What's going
Miner
on,
in the
brother?
yeah, Chris Miner in the house. The long format master. Homie's got endurance.
You gotta have it, man. You gotta have it. It's hard, but someone has to do it.
Yeah, man. I'm so glad you could make it. PK was invited, but he had a arduous day. So our navigational skills are going to be a little diminished without our brother, but I hope he's watching. Big love, PK. I do not
Yeah.
pay attention to the chat very much, but if you're out there, yeah, big respect, partner.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me, dude. I'm glad to be here. And PK, you will be missed, my friend. You will be missed.
You've already been missed like
Already
5
been
times. Yeah. So much love, everybody. We have kind of rough, rugged here, there, and everywhere kind of format online, but something that we were talking about before is this theme that kind of continues from my show with Zaralath. I hope everybody gets a chance to check out the Nosferatu episode with Zaralath. And then I also had a show with Paranoid American. My buddy Tomunculus had me on. And I've been talking about a couple, well, actually a dozen different topics all at once. One of which has been this theme around the plague. And some of the correspondences from the Muppets and the tarot cards, the plague, and I guess I want to throw a bunch of the original clip notes so we can build out on what you were mentioning before the show.
Let's do it.
Okay, so just in case anybody doesn't want to go and scramble through my gallivanting on other channels, the stream of consciousness here kind of starts with how the end of the Bible is a prohibition against plagiarism that guarantees all of the plagues of the Bible onto anybody who plagiarizes the Bible. And this word plague has been mentioned very thoroughly. Much ink has been spilt around this word plague. I am pointing at the Inklings. I am pointing at Voltaire. He has a quote about, you know what bothers me the most about the English language is that the word plague is one syllable, but the word ague is 2 syllables, but it has less letters. And what is it about English that the shorter word has less letters? So he is made commentary on the word plague. And a lot of people in the Bible have a million, bazillion different plagues, including leprosy hands mysteriously turning to leprosy and then coming out and not being leprosemic anymore, just like the hidden hand that Napoleon does and all the dudes with the hidden hand in the paintings. So then something that I've discovered is that I've learned that in ancient battles, after a war, there would be such a horrible battle that it was a losing battle for both sides almost. And the treaty is actually just a symbol of desperation. And sometimes they will make a treaty. I believe this was the Ottomans and the Greek, or the Persians and the Greeks, I think. And they make a treaty that actually vindicates the war so that both sides go home and lie to the people who have given up their children for the war. So they'll come back and they'll say, look, it was okay. It was worth it that you sent your children to die because we signed a treaty that is a prohibition against plagiarism. And all of the people are like, oh, ooh, it's a good thing we sent our children to die because now we protected literacy. And then the guys who signed the treaty are like yucking it up because we got these guys to think that literacy was on the line and they give us their children, right?
Yeah.
So this plagiarism, the plague, and the end of the Bible, and these treaties throughout history, I'm pointing at the muse Clio, who has the Thucydides history of the Peloponnesian War on her lap. She is essentially the muse of literacy at large, and the promise that the good book will reflect back on your life and give you immortality of its sort in the realm of literacy. And so, also, this is really far out. The last word of the dictionary, the last word of any dictionary. I actually think my computer is on top of my dictionary right now, but it is zyzzygy or zymergy. That's it, zymergy. And zymergics are the study of fermentation, the study of aguing. Aguing means heating up so that you can get better plague results or a better disease outcome, or it is gain of function. The word gain of function is a reference back to this plague at the end of the Bible, and also zymergy in the end of the dictionary, and all of these treaties that it's worth it to send your kids off to war, or else literacy might be in jeopardy. So yeah, that's kind of some of the threads. And then also on my Weaves with Zaralath, there's a plague ship that arrives in the new city, and it's full of rats. And so, yeah, those are some of the cliff notes because one of our most recent live streams, Chris said that that freaking Fauci looks like the rat from the Muppets, and it all took off from there. The plague of ideas ever since he said that has been really something. So yeah.
And then today you start bringing up the Bob Dylan thing. The Bob Dylan movie that just came out with Timothy Chalamet. I just remember this not too long ago, Tim Dillon had a whole episode on how girls have begun to like celebrities that look like rats. And this was mainly about Timothy Chalamet. So there you go. It's right there. I mean, and that Tim Dillon thing was also like the cat and the mouse because he's a giant guy talking about Chalamet, this rat-looking celebrity.
It's so fascinating. I can't believe that's been in the zeitgeist right after, talking about Rizza, the rat. And, something I was thinking last night is there's a rat race for people to snitch on each other right now. California catches fire and all the rat race of information and data, and everybody thought it was going to come out in the binders. But that is not the case. That is not the case.
Yeah. It's like who's gonna rat? I mean, we've been playing that since like 2020 almost. I mean, that seems to be the game since even the whole Epstein thing started, and it just no one ever did.
Right. And like a lot of people, it's so funny it's almost, I mean, I think of a triple entendre, rat race. It means, literally scientific experimentation, right? NIM, the secret of NIM, was based on an actual psychological, a Center for Human Neural Studies of some sort. Mm-hmm. But it also is the rat race, like everybody get back to work. Look at the job situation right now, right?
Yeah.
It's an economic trigger. But then on a whole nother level, in the subliminal, it's all of the blackmail industry, and all these people kind of running around, taking each other out. Like what Gene Hackman just popped off. This is one big experiment, y'all. This is all one big experiment.
And that thing is wild in itself, the Hackman thing. There's a lot in that. I don't know how hard you looked at that, but underground tunnels under his place, his heart meter stopped, like almost biohacking. Yeah, so you have that with the rat too. You have the reverse is like tar. You get this black tar heroin type of symbolism that we see with the drug use and stuff like that in the drug industry.
Yeah, and I guess one thing that is kind of being slow, maybe not so slowly, but it's dawning on me slowly. That there's this huge trigger about what is underground, underground information, underground network, people in the tunnels, whatever, in New York. But dumbs, that's the other thing, dumbs.
Yeah. And that's connected with the Hackman story, oddly. If you just type in a search, Gene Hackman underground, like tunnels under house, it's like all these weird AI-filled populated even videos start popping up. Like just dozens of them that connect to no solid story that you can actually find. Just there, it's true that I think his house is above a tunnel system, but there's no like source story where this is coming from. It's just the AI is just throwing this out now for everyone to find, which is odd too.
Yeah. It's so fascinating. Like a lot of people in mainstream will say, "Yeah, we haven't investigated most of the waters of the earth. Let alone, we know more about the stars than we do about the under the water." And then a lot of people are like, "Do you know what a dumb is?" Think of how like calling it a dumb makes everybody giggle and throws you off the trail. And
100%.
And even especially, I'll never forget my buddy's reaction when I said, "Have you ever heard of Saddaloons?" Dude, you should have seen his face. You should have seen his face. There was no more talking. He's like, "Saddaloons?"
Yeah.
And it's these words are almost like way markers that you're actually onto something.
Oh, yeah. No, that's a good call, dude. That's a good call. It is that. It's that 100%. It's the spell of our language that we have.
So did you hear how I was kind of testing the waters after Zarelath told me about Mother Teresa and Fauci?
Oh, I see. I thought I sent you that too when I first said the rat thing, and I looked it up. I did see that on the page, and I thought I sent it to you because I remember that quote that they said happened where they had to record multiple takes because it was like Mother Teresa on a stick. I don't even know I don't even get the reference really.
Well, let me say this. I think there is something to the fact that animals seem to be pre-cognizant of death. And I think, it sends my mind in a million places. And so do insects. And the same thing happens with plants. When a plant is like suffering, it actually puts out a vibe that says, "Come take me out." And it gives off a certain vibratory offering that certain predators will come and consume. That was in Nosferatu. One of the women who was suffering really badly because she was so stressed out, she ends up rolling out of bed and just getting munched on by a bunch of rats.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I still haven't seen it, but I want to see it.
It's so bad. But I don't really recommend these films. In fact, there's about 90 seconds of the film that was way too much for me even. So I definitely don't recommend it for anybody else. And I got a fairly strong stomach.
Did they make the Nosferatu character look like a rat like they did originally almost? Like it kind of looked like it was like a monster looking one in the original, right? Like almost bald and kind of rodent looking.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. Well, they put a big fat Nietzschean mustache on him, which was totally one of a kind. And big ups to B. Hoff out there. I don't know if he's on tonight, but he was mentioning in my Telegram group that there is a lineage of like, I guess that's a Bulgarian mustache. that does go to a certain school of warlocks, like legitimate warlocks who have a dragon rank, with which you become a controller of the weather. And it's an ancient topic.
Oh, that's the first thing every time I see those mustaches with the bald haircut, bald hair, no hair, I should say. It makes me think of that Tom Hardy movie where he's playing that Englishman who was in prison. I can't remember the name of it now. Maybe someone in chat can remember it. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
No, it's not ringing a bell, but I'm so glad that the chat comes in to field some of the foul balls every once in a while. Tom Harding, though.
Tom Hardy.
Hardy. What else is he in?
He was Bane.
Oh, got it.
I mean, you could kind of see it even with the Bane character with the bald head.
Yep.
Not just had the mustache. It was I think the one story I'm thinking of he played. It was like based on a true story.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to do a screen share, and I'll pull up a picture of Nosferatu here. One sec.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's interesting too when I'm looking at because I use this website wordsense.eu a lot for etymology and stuff, and just even looking at how the word pest is immediately connected to plague, like you get the pest and past.
Oh wow! Look at that. Cleo is the muse of the past.
Yeah.
Of written history. Wow, buddy, good one. And and they saved the plague promise for the last page. That's pretty interesting. Okay, I'm gonna try and do a screen share. Give me a second. I'm always got to ho-hum a little bit while I do it. Here we go. All right, tunnel vision, and here it is. This is my slick dissonant collage work. And so I'm kind of picking up on some of those old threads, but look at that Nietzschean mustache. And that is unique, but he does have the crazy pointy nose too,
Oh yeah, no, they really did go hardcore with that. That's way different than I feel like they did the original one, right?
Yeah, the original was way mousier, and even had mousy ears. His ears were mouse. Yeah, and I think I mentioned before we started about the word rats is the word star in reverse, and so it is on the star card is the letter Hey. And the star card is number 17. It adds up to a number 8. That's a controller, domineering, or a challenger. Does that sound like a sacrificial ritual we remember? Or with the remedial virtue of sympathy. Also, the demonic infernal spirit of lust, Asmodeus, who is the main character of the Pope's Exorcist. So they're unpackaging number 8 controller, domineering, psychopathic, ubermention everywhere. They're uber-mentioning all of these number 8s. And it was, sure enough, it was this week that number 8, Andrew 8, lands on the shores unsolicited in Florida and does a whole bunch of provocation protocols.
Yep. Remember, I actually was the one. I think I sent you that when I saw it right after I saw your show, because I was like, "This is such weird timing." It was such a confirmation when right after. Boom.
It was. Yeah. And you hadn't even seen Nosferatu to see the correspondence of their likeness.
No, I wasn't even thinking about that. Just the the toxic masculine type of archetype that he plays was enough, because it was so. And he kept saying, like you were mentioning something about tiny men too in your show, and he kept calling Ron DeSantis a tiny man in the beginning of that, because I only watched like the first half of it, but he kept calling him a tiny man so much that I was like, I just got to send this.
Wow. Yes. Oliganthropy is when you run out of soldiers and you have to go and black bag soldiers and throw them into war, and or start recruiting women into the front lines. They run out of men, and the name of it is called oliganthropy, and it means little man. It's just, they're They have
Well,
little.
and do you remember the videos that came out at the beginning of the Ukraine thing where they were showing this happening? Like, whether it was real or not, who knows? But they were going out and like basically tossing guys in trucks to
Yeah,
join the army.
yeah, they're doing it again. But I would point out that, much like a lot of people saw those videos of people doing face plants with the lockdown or before the lockdowns,
Yeah,
I would say,
careful.
wouldn't it be fascinating if there's the same people in both videos? If that's actually a whole branch of international actors,
Yeah, no, absolutely,
right? And so, this is the one. This is the one I put together because you said on a couple live streams ago, you were like, "Fauci is Rizzo," and it just blows me away. This blows me away. And so the large ears are actually in the context of like being a snitch or telling on some or being an informant. That's what I mean. Being an informant requires large ears. It's actually it's totem accuracy. It's impeccably shamanically harmonious that the mouse has large ears because that's their strength. Is they've heard things. They have precious information that they picked up from far away. They're almost like it's almost mocking us for taking in the media. You know what I mean? If you have large ears, you have large intake of info.
Yeah, something too reminds me of the thread back when you were doing the see no evil, hear no evil.
Oh yeah. So this would be speak no evil.
Speak no evil. There you go.
This would be speak no evil. Wow, that's fascinating to think about. Because rats can't expunge the food they take in. Whoa, the totem magic here is dialed. We're biologically breaking this down. Rats can't throw up if they don't like the food you give them. And so they're not, that's one of many reasons why experiments on rats have no reflection on us, because we have the free will to throw up if we care to. Rats don't have that. And also, they're nocturnal generally. So in that aspect, they have nothing to do with us.
I did not know that. That's wild.
Right. Yeah. They're so different from us that their differences outweigh what is told to us to be their similarities.
Well, they're supposed to use they use a lot of mice mostly, right? But then the problem with that too is the thing that Brett Weinstein is always talking about, the telomere length.
Oh,
yeah, like in the bred, because the mice that are bred for labs apparently have a weird extra long telomere length. They're ultra resistant to disease and more likely to die from a cancer, I think.
That's brilliant. And did you hear Chumpster in his Senate address was talking about they made a transgender mouse?
Yeah. Oh, there was so much in that whole address too. I mean, I remember I was sending you a few of the clips, but I don't know if they weave into this, but just the changing of the age, even the Iron Dome to the Golden Dome, the changing of the name, which I mean that we've already had that plan for a while. I think that if we don't already have that system in place,
right?
But just he had to change the name.
Totally. And Golden Dome is 33 in septenary, y'all. which is arsenic. Oh, arsenic kills the rats, bro.
There you go.
What did we just do? Arsenic kills the rats. Okay, I'm sorry if I yelled.
Oh, that might not be good for us.
Arsenic kills the rats, folks. What the heck? That's creepy. What did we find? 33 is arsenic. Arsenic kills the rats. 33 was in all of the COVID narrative. Wow. I've always known that arsenic was 33, but it never made sense till we were talking about human experimentation. Wow. And that happened today. It took me this many years, folks. I was this many years old to think about 33 is rat poison.
Oh
Okay.
man.
Sorry. Black pill, y'all. This is your black pill buffet. Get your immune boost right here. Get your black pill immune boost right here, folks. All right. So yeah, homegirl was the priestess card, and the priestess is totally Salome, the unrequited love interest of Friedrich Nietzsche. These are the whole Nosferatu, which sounds a lot like Navaratri, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's
Doesn't
very
it?
close. Every time you say it, actually.
I've been ignoring that fact, but Nosferatu and Navaratri, Friedrich Nietzsche, F Nietzsche has enough. Just F Nietzsche has enough to turn into Nosferatu and Navaratri, right? So this is his unrequited love, and this is his muse that tortured him throughout his life. She turned him down twice. First, he had his friend kind of propose to her for him, but then she kind of falls for his friend, and then he proposes himself, and it doesn't go well. And in the film Nosferatu, he says, "I will come back 3 nights, and on the 3rd night, you will not be able to resist." And of course, on the 3rd night, she opens the window, just like a star card hay. And the word influence, comes from arcane time when they believed that the stars flew in through your window and would infect you so that you would get sick. And
Like
so
the influenza, right?
just like influenza. And also Edward Bernays, he was the master of window shopping. He gave everybody the formula for window shopping. And this is, you walk in front of a product and you don't actually register your own reflection in the glass. You're looking past yourself. That is so magical. Think about that. You look past yourself and you see the object of your wanting. It is reflected as though you're holding it, like a ghost figure of you holding what you want. Do you remember?
Dude, that's just like the way that Ken Wheeler describes our black mirrors, like that we hold, and the way we're looking at the obsidian type of glass. It becomes a conductive like source of energy, basically, that's taking your energy because you're looking through it.
That's exactly right. You're looking past yourself. You're not even acknowledging yourself in your hand. You're looking past yourself. Dude, it's so profound. So Bernays, that's why all the window shopping industries of the 20s, I think, maybe I'm wrong, but that's why the window had to be cleaned. And the shop owners all have like really heavy maintenance and regulation around having their windows shiny so that you ignore your self-reflection. And I'm wearing my shades right now. In my shades, I can see my own eyeball reflecting back at me in my shades right now.
Well, it's interesting too because ignoring the self-reflection is like basically ego death, mass ego death, and then you become like a hive mind. Way easier. It's like the killing of the individuality with that as well.
Right. Yeah, I think that's pretty fun. And also, history has a huge register of decoder glasses. That's another thing. Just something that comes to mind. Benjamin Franklin, Joseph Smith, and They Live, The Matrix. It's all these decoder glasses. All right. So yeah, Salome is the unrequited love interest. Unrequited love is signified by the erote anteros. And I think this is the theme at large right now because Gerta wrote a book, I forget its name, about unrequited love that started a slew of seppukus in the community. And they accused him of being pessimistic and writing about unrequited love. But I think the slew of seppukus was cover fog so people could fake their death. And so I'm just going to put unrequited love. And I think even the collapse of the economy represents unrequited love. If I were to chart it on the Enneagram, because it does attach to Cleo, to history, even a Jubilee debt attaches to this Cleo, the muse of history, because she keeps the register. Unrequited love is a scorekeeper. That's another nickname for him. So scorekeeper, Jubilee, These are all overarching themes, and even faking your death because everybody else seems to be in seppuku season. All right, this is Schopenhauer. He's Goethe's buddy. Goethe and Schopenhauer were in cahoots big time, and he got accused of the same thing for writing as a pessimist. Let's see. I think I'm getting a little echo, but I can barely hear it. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't hear it either. I have you on my headphones, so
All good. Okay. I wonder if
maybe if I.
it's all good.
That'd be weird if it's coming through. Here, I'll turn it down a little.
No, it's all good. I barely hear it. I just was hoping the chat wasn't getting bugged out, and I didn't know. So Navaratri, Friedrich Nietzsche, Nosferatu, right? All of this othering of the East. I think that's an important agenda right now because the East and the West of the Catholic split seems to be coming to the forefront, and that might also have a great amount to do with that treaty that makes guarantees a plague if you commit plagiarism from a famous battle way back in the day. Oh, and that guy's name is Constantine, right?
Constantine the Emperor.
The Constantine, the actor from Bob Dylan.
Oh! You're thinking of Timothy? Isn't it?
Charlemagne.
Wait, Charlemagne. Isn't it Charlemagne or something like that?
Thank you. No, I get them confused because they actually do kind of. Yeah, there's a Constantine's prize.
Timothy Chalamet. Chalamet. He's a Frenchman. Looks like His middle name is Hal.
Wow. Wow. How's he spell it?
Hal.
That's actually the hallway, Manly P Hall. It's actually an artifact of the Masonic architecture. They have they always have a hallway of initiation. Okay, Nietzsche.
Also, before we go too far from Gerta, his death is coming up. His death date.
Really? We just
22nd of March.
Wow, it's almost a month after Steiner's birthday. We just had Steiner's birthday the other day.
Yeah. No, that's strange.
Interesting. Yeah, so Nietzsche is the walrus and Nietzschean Skywalker. This painting here in the middle was made by Edmund Munch, and he painted the Scream. You know the Scream painting?
Show it to me.
Let's see.
If you have it.
Good question. I probably do, but it'll be way back in the PK. Where's PK? Oh, here. Okay, here we go. Okay, look closely at this card. The Scream painting is in this motif, and it's a ghostly figure with a Macaulay Culkin face where he smacks his lips or he smacks his cheeks with aftershave, and it burns. The Scream is a famous ghouly face with the Macaulay Culkin face, and that was an homage. It wasn't occult.
I have it. I just pulled it up. I know which one you're talking about now.
Excellent.
100%. It looks just like it with the color scheme and everything.
Okay. Yes. Here. There we go. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And big ups to B. Hoff in the telly who sent some links today that lead to this school called I'm going to look it up. Because some of those guys with their mustaches, they actually have this curly do hair on the top. It's very stylistically significant, I think. And the Scream they say is one of the highest selling paintings of all time. And the same painter who painted the Scream did that Friedrich Nietzsche painting. And this is Crowley's most cherished of cards. It's the Aeon card.
Yeah, Aeon card.
Okay, here we go. It's the Vampire Academy from history is called the Schoolomancy. SCHOLOMANCE. And
Necromancy.
Yes. And some of the lineages that go back to that have this mustache, this Nietzschean mustache. And I put Friedrich Nietzsche in the number 4 chariot card very much because he is iconic number 4 personality type is called the individual with the shadow of envy. He was totally envious in his own way, but he knew, yeah. And that's the spirit of Leviathan. Infernal spirit of Leviathan is envy.
Yeah, it's strange, right? When you were bringing up this school of black magic from Romania, the vampire school, I was already looking at Gerta's history with Transylvania and found this character Radu Rossetti, who looks like as soon as I saw the name, I'm like, this guy sounds like it's just the rat is there in his name,
Yeah.
and it literally looks like it could be Anthony Fauci's father.
You want to screen share it?
Here, let me. I sent you the link right in the Telegram if you want to pop it up there, but I can share it too if you want.
Let's see. Oh, that sounds perfect. Let me see. One moment, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, Lucy Rose Up. Big respect. My Cherie, thank you for joining. I see Maceo Gabbard. Oh my gosh. Is that Tulsi's family member in the chat? Hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Tell Tulsi I said hi. All right. Okay. Hold on. I screwed up. Let me get a screen share. So you sent it to the personal telly?
Yeah. If you want, I could pull it up.
Okay, you go ahead. Here, how do I let you?
If it's easier, so I think I could just, let me see. Slides, share screen. Here we go.
Excellent. Mooniverse. I see Mooniverse in the chat. Big love, Mooniverse.
I think you have to just allow it to go through.
Here we go. Okay.
There it is.
Bing.
Doesn't that look like his?
Whoa. My goodness gracious. And he's from this school of Mancy?
From Gerta's page, I mean, he's just a historian that has a bunch of, I guess it looks like he's highly involved in writing about Gerta's history in Romania.
Okay.
So then I was like, Jesus, it's like right in the name.
So fascinating. So Gerta is a huge bottleneck persona, right? Because he's right before Steiner, and he's a cohort with our guy Schopenhauer, and was accused for this pessimism and unrequited love. I see him also as, and I'm sure there are many examples other than him, but he's probably our strongest Hellenist. His reputation was that he had a great initiatory experience of some sort, some mystery school initiation. And so he's carrying a very potent lineage of Hellenistic rites. And I always point out, while all the Abrahamics are Rochambeau, rock, scissors, paper with each other, that the Greeks are thriving. And they slipped right past everybody's radar on the freedom of religion, but not in the churchianic context. In all of these universities, got the Greeks. They got the Greek, fraternal orders.
Do you know what it's like too? It's weird because whenever you hear people bring up the Greeks, it's like they automatically jump to the Romans and everything gets blamed Romans, and it's like the Greek are always just ignored. But really, you're right. It is like the whole entire it's like a packaging of grimoire in the sense of the Greek mysteries put into the future through all the university system, all of our history. It's like encoded in the background of everything, and no one ever says a word about it.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think one thing that's a signature of Greeks is initiation, and the hazing, all of that, and this kind of really, in some contexts, it's the fun spirit of competition, but in other contexts, it goes right into sustaining classism and some, Zarelath pointed out. I love that he said once that this is a distinction in its paganism, is that uh, the Republic, Plato's Republic, is a cosmopolitan paganism, and I love that Zarelath pointed that out one time. He said it's very cosmopolitan paganism, and I was like, "Dang, that's so true," because cosmopolitan paganism isn't necessarily inland, but the word pagan means inlander, away from the waters. And so I think that also is really informative, that we're talking about the Greeks, which are more city and cosmopolitan, not just broadly anything goes with the term pagan.
Yeah.
Big up, Z. I see you, bro.
Yeah, no, your guys' show was great too.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Super fun. And a lot of those revelations hold on. But let me get back on the, because Zarelath, I got to surprise him right after our conversation with some graphics, which, give me 1 second, folks, as I go tunnel vision for just a brief flip. Let's see. Boom, boom, and boom. Okay. Yes. Because there were some recent developments after the Zarelath show.
By the way, once after this show, I'm gonna have to look at this guy Rossetti more, because it looks like he has a whole background with revolutions and doctors, and he's everywhere. Yeah, he's everywhere.
Is he the base code of Rizza the Rat? Are we looking at the base code?
I don't know yet. There's so much though. I've never seen any of this. There's a lot of information here.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't see me in Zarelath's show, you really missed out, because Zarelath brought up the conversation between Rizza and Gonzo, and Zarelath's getting a real kick out of the fact that Tucker Carlson is in the spirit of Gonzo journalism, and he's even got the droopy eyes. And so, yeah, Zarelath brought up a clip where Gonzo and Rizza the Rat are talking, or Rizzo. There, I did it again. I got to catch myself. Rizzo the Rat. We're talking, and it was the day after Zarelath and I had that conversation. Tucker Carlson goes on with, what's this guy's name over here? Sam Bankman-Fried, who's locked away in prison and looking pretty ratty-haired.
Yeah. How weird was that whole thing? He was with the Adderall stuff too, asking him, and I can't believe how well they got along, honestly.
Well, because it's all a stage, folks. It's all a stage.
Yeah. No, I mean, it is.
But
he's he's a weird character himself.
Yeah. Let me stay astronomical on this, okay? So the Tucker got shit canned exactly on the anniversary of the trucker convoy, which was called the Great Honkening. And the goose is the guard bird. It has been used many millennia back to guard the temple. If there's a marauding force on the horizon, this bird is supposed to tell you what to be afraid of. And so the significance of Cygna, the swan's opposite, antipode, is the goose, the Grus in the constellations. Let me check what number that is. I don't see it. It would take me too long. I thought I had it marked out. Oh no, I do know. Holy shit. Wait a second. It's number 45. It's exactly at the halfway mark, and its spatial area is 365. It's the only spatial area number that is sacred geometry. This Grus constellation. I'm sorry. I'm doing research on the
No,
fly
go,
here.
go, go.
Okay.
Fly, brother.
I'm so glad I took a minute to check. Yes, the Grus constellation by size is number 45. 45 is the gap of the Pythias in the Enneagram. Let me see. Am I on camera too? Yeah. The 4 to the 5 is a very sacred gap of the Pythias there. I think love is 54 and code is 54. But yeah, I've always thought that was super significant. The Grus. Oh, and in Greek, the symbol for G is actually the letter Z. So there's kind of some Zrus, and getting the goosebumps is kind of getting, a tingle.
Is this why we had the Z on some of the Starlink type of stuff and the tanks and whatnot?
I think so. I think it's supposed to really kind of Kabbalistically signify your proprioceptors, the hairs on your neck raising, because you're moving through some field of energy. Yeah, goosebumps, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And goosebumps, I've always said, I love thinking of goosebumps as your ancestors singing some information that you should know. That's what I think.
It's also like your aura and your biofield, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Your Spidey, your Peter Tingle.
There we go.
Hit your Peter Tingle. Okay. The first time Goosebumps was ever used was in Macbeth. And I kind of wove on that a long time ago. But yeah, that's where we get, kind of where the English language gets the word. I'm sure it's borrowed from other cultures a million times over. Here's my new merch, y'all. Check out my new designs. I just made a couple t-shirts. Boom. Check it out. Check it out.
Sick.
Spring tees. Yep. Couple Capoeira dancing zebra brothers on the t-shirt. Got one with big stars and one with less stars. But yeah, that's kind of fun. Okay. Wow. That's okay. That's super interesting that Bruce is number 45 to me.
No, I got something else here for that. You're gonna enjoy this actually from the Rossetti guy.
Okay. Here, do you need to share?
Yeah, let me share screen. Is it up? All right.
Here, I got you. Yep.
So, notice this whole thing with the Geeka family. There's something odd there, but basically this guy was writing, and his pen name is Varax, and they talk about Varax's venomous pen produced almost an official response by the Romanian government. But he wasn't Romanian; he was an Uitlander. He was an outside foreigner, I believe.
Whoa.
And then, he's basically writing, he's writing treaties, basically, for all these pogrom, which is a violent riot, apparently, these programs, almost. And
wow, man.
It's like they're crafting he's a crafter of narratives, it looks like.
Everybody go to the back of your programma.
Yeah.
And that's where the pilgrims, it's a pilgrimage to
and
the
look
plague.
At this. Verax and liar are synonymous.
Whoa.
And that's what he was signing his name off with on all of these treaties and everything he was writing.
Wow. I am super glad this is being recorded because I totally want to look into that. Verax and liar is synonymous. Is his handle.
That was his handle in Romanian, I guess. He was doing this in Romania. Yeah, because he was writing the history. Or this is being written, Verax and translated by Rossetti himself in English.
That makes me think of the philosophical echoes of the phrase, I am not a liar, or how's it go? There's something philosophical about like saying I never tell the truth, but I'm not a liar, or something like that. There's some kind of Cohen.
Oh, I always tell the truth even when I lie.
That's it. That's it. Yeah, totally. I wonder about that. It's yeah, it looks like some
Just some
hailing through
wilds.
the ages.
I don't want to take up too much of it, but yeah, there's stuff that we're both gonna probably have to look at that later.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, I invited PK on maybe a research preparation project, and I think maybe next time we come together, I kind of want to dig into modern day cults. It's kind of something that I'm a low grade obsessed with.
Yeah, I love looking into that stuff.
Yeah.
I'd definitely be down.
Okay, excellent. And I might even talk to Nick from the Occult Rejects and see if he'd come on with us one of these days.
That'd be great. That'd
Yeah.
be great. I mean,
Yeah.
Dude, that used to be what I looked into most before all this stuff in 2020 started. I was so fascinated because of the psychology of it. And we give so many examples, like that's like what they give us is more so we get to see the cults and how the cults that at least aren't, the surface cults, like the people who wind up killing a bunch of people or killing themselves.
Big time, big time. I have a very curious question, and that maybe I'll bring that to the next show. That I have lived out in my lifetime the formula of the hippies are all peace-loving folk, return to the earth, farming in the backyard, raising a bunch of kids, everything's going great, and that becomes a challenge to the establishment, and they send in a couple parallel cliques, and then we have the Manson family, and they parallel the hippies, and the next thing you know, you can't talk about hippies without getting through this top layer of shit,
Did you just see the documentary that just came out on this on Netflix, or you didn't know that this just happened? Literally two days ago, they just dropped the Manson documentary that's starting to hit the layer of like how much was Manson involved or brainwashed by MK Ultra before.
Totally an asset. And these assets, even knowing that they're an asset, keeps you off the trail to some degree.
Yeah.
But it seems to be happening again. So I just want to mention that when I was a kid, hippies were awesome. They were peace loving. And then my cousin's stepfather, he hated hippies. He went off the rails and rallying against the word hippies. I was like, man, you must be twisted to not love hippies. What's wrong with you? But then I realized he reads it through the Manson narrative, And so,
do you know what's so interesting too? I just realized because the girlfriend had another documentary on that just came out this week, which was on Vietnam. So they released them both at the same time, the Vietnam and Manson, which are the two opposing narratives, because you have the war movement and the anti-war movement, and both of them conflicting for reasons that they don't even understand.
It's almost like disclosure that these are coming out at the same time. Like, be careful, we're going to come at you with the same thing again. Just repackage it.
Because it's like how obvious now to the majority of us. But I don't think they were always doing this. I don't remember them doing it, like things like releasing things this closely that were so obviously tied together.
Mm-hmm. There's a little hope in the fact that they seem very desperate. They do seem desperate, a little heavy-handed, I would even say. But one more topic that I wish I had sent myself these pictures before, but this switch of the torch passing from one generation to the next. I've said in the past that something I learned through the symposium is that they seem to be switching the comedy and the tragedy between generations. This seems to be a pattern that my parents were traumatized and through the nuclear bomb narrative and the Cuba crisis, which Bay of Pigs is an anagram for big payoff, you know. And now here my generation is demystifying the big payoff, and it turns into a mockery of the tragedy of the last generation. And because of that, this is kind of generational odds and evens. You know what I mean? Like our experience is probably going to be more harmonious to our grandchildren, but our children's
Yeah.
experience is more harmonious to our parents' children. So there's odds and evens through the years.
And that's a brilliant way to make sure that a society stays totally divided.
Big time.
How
Big
the
time.
heck?
And I'm going to send this to myself so I can share it. I have a really, I think, a unique claim that I can make from the Slick Dissident breakdowns. And that is that based on Plato's Symposium and the seating order, and the comedian is in number 4 position. That's Aristophanes. And Agathon is in the number 5 position of the seating order. And because of this seating chart, I can actually claim that the tragedy belongs on the left-hand side, and the comedy belongs on the right-hand side, per the seating chart of the comedian and the tragedian in the symposium. And so that has edified me greatly. And I'm going to share. Do you remember the picture of the? There we go. Of the Pope and Donald.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember them? Was it in a magazine or a? Here we go. Do you remember what this is from?
I don't actually. I don't know if I've seen this until you sent it to me, but it is totally that the masks.
Yeah. I am quite convinced that the comedy should be on the right-hand side, and the tragedy should be on the left-hand side.
Think about the camera might be reversing the image.
It could be. That's right. And I just learned last night, I was studying William Blake, and that's actually kind of a Blakean thing, is to switch the image for one group of people. So there's mixed messages.
Also, stage right. So
yes.
Stage right is the actor's stage right. So that would be
right
where Donald is in this equation.
Yes. Oh, that is so fascinating. It's almost like, yeah, that we're getting the mixed messages intentionally.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. So yeah, this I think is maybe a few years old, this image, but I do have reason to claim that the flipping of comedy and tragedy is something of a transgenerational leapfrog.
When you just said that.
Leapfrog.
And also the whole trans thing, the flipping and that whole flipping of the genders, flipping of the comedy. I didn't even catch that the first time you said it.
Wow. Yeah, that just happened. Leapfrog, generational leapfrog from comedy to tragedy. Wow. Okay, so something else I want to share. I watched Bob Dylan last night, and you say you haven't seen it yet?
I haven't seen it yet. I've seen the trailer for it, though. So
okay.
I knew what you were talking about immediately.
Right on. And you have seen Dune, though.
Yeah.
Man, what did you think about Dune?
I like Dune. I liked it. There's definitely a lot. There's a lot there.
And have you seen the older ones? The previous?
I've seen parts of the one that what's his name did. Lynch did, but I haven't seen the whole thing. I should watch the whole thing.
Yeah. Back when the new Dune came out, my buddy Alan Marcus, big love to Alan Marcus from the Weaving Spiders. He's a huge enthusiast, and kind of like I was all geared up for Shogun, where I'm like, consider myself a know-it-all. Alan Marcus was telling everybody, you better go do your homework before you watch the new movie.
Yeah.
And I think that's really funny when people are that protective, that they want people to have a depth of context so they can come into just one conversation about the topic.
Well, the history of the film, like it will, if it goes on, it's insane. The books, right? Like all the stuff that happens. Like, I mean, I don't want to ruin it for anyone, but the guy turns into a worm, doesn't he? Eventually, like, that's like after a lot of other stuff.
Totally. And I want to say that I just want to point at screw tape letters. The screw tape letters are written from the devil to an infernal spirit, somebody's little devil
like
on their shoulder.
a lesser demon, right?
Yes. And the name of the lesser demon is Wormwood.
Mm.
And this is kind of a hail to absinthe. We just had absinthe day last week. And also a lot of people will go straight to the Bible about, some meteor at the end times. But I want to point at the absinthe. The history of absinthe is fascinating. But I just learned that Sigmund Freud, the secret to his success was cocaine and absinthe.
It seems like it's the secret to Zelensky's success too.
Yes.
Which
yes.
I know everyone's been talking about that weirdly, like that, like they're not all on just doing it.
Yep. Big time. I wonder if that's why he wears green so much, even.
Right?
Yes.
Dude, you know what's weird? Right after you brought that picture of the Pope and Trump stage right, I was like, there is an anagram there. I mean, you get the eight rats, you get a like trigger hat trigger, gas tight.
Damn.
There's a lot there. That is weird. Even egg is in there somehow. Yeah.
Wow.
Thirst gauge. Yeah, there's something weird going on there. I think that they're switching it up on purpose, so it's hard for people to. Yeah, radish egg. Totally.
Wow.
It's right there, all of it.
That is fascinating. Like the word radish means radical or of the root. That's actually that's highly alchemical. It's incredibly alchemical. Let me think. It's even. Let me think. I think it's sulfur and. Let me think. Maybe salt. I don't know. Yeah, that's highly alchemical. Okay, well, in the Dune research, when my buddy Alan Marcus invited me to learn up some Dune trivia, I want to give props to Chris, King of Cups. He was the one who brought onto my radar how they were intentionally depicting him as Maud Gonne. And I think it's very likely a grandchild. So this is leapfrogging, right? I don't think this is Maud Gonne's son or daughter. I think this would be the grandchild of Maud Gonne. I'm not sure her year of her life. But yeah, I think they've signaled that, and this is the actor, right? Charlemagne, who ends up playing Bob Dylan later. And look how similar they look.
Dude, and then even with it's interesting too, with the leapfrogging, that's how they move almost. They have to dance around and jump when they're so the worms don't grab them.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You know what else? Do you remember in Dune? This was part of the weave with Marcus. There's a lot to suss out. But do you remember in this Dune, they have a scene where he and his mother have to stay the night in a specially designed desert tent. Do you remember?
Mm-hmm.
Right. That scene, he acquires his birthright of kings, his father's ring. And when he puts on his father's ring, he starts to have visions. And his mom is freaking out. She's sweating. I think she's injured, so she's also bleeding. He has a psychological breakdown, and it's a crazy, incestuous night with mom in the desert tent.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the morning, the specially designed tent acquires the blood, the sweat, and the tears and turns it into water to drink. And
Oh, dude, I
as
don't
you
even remember that part. That's interesting.
right as you take a swig.
Right as I take a swig. Yeah, no, that's interesting. I remember because it's also like, it seems like a cocoon type of thing with the way,
Yes,
because it is like becomes a bug, right? The way that after they
yes.
sleep in it, doesn't it fly eventually?
Uh, I don't
Is
know.
that
I don't
is that what they put him in the ship, the crashed ship, or was it just the
know.
thing they're carrying her in is like looks similar to this whole, they have like the ships, kind of the airships that look like bugs, and they carry her in like a
Right.
snake thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually. Yeah. No, this is some kind of field tent that they stay in,
Okay. Okay.
and overnight the whole thing gets buried in the sand, and and then there's a cut scene. I think we're looking at the divide from Act 2 to Act 3. I think it's actually the culmination of Act 2, if I was, theatrically technical. But then there's a Mohadib is the name of a mouse. It's a desert mouse with big, big, big ears. It has oversized ears because it uses its ears to collect moisture and then suckles on its own ear for preservation in the dry desert.
And that even is Maud Gon's her picture on Wiki. I mean,
Yeah, it's her
the
most
ears.
popular.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the one. Yes. No, you're talking about with the hat. The
Yeah,
one
with
with
the
the.
hat.
Yeah, buddy. Do you have that? Let me stop
Yeah.
sharing. Let's pull up her hat with the ears. Great call. It's like the same outfit, but just a big old. Let's see. Here we go. Look at
Hopefully everyone
that.
could. Yeah, it's wild, right?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Very mercurial. Super mercurial. So I want to say this. Remember the thing about Salome is the unrequited love of Friedrich Nietzsche. And and that's the reason he's such a tortured soul. And that is actually the reason why we even know anything about him, is because he had so much time on his hands without her. Well,
Mm-hmm.
the same thing goes for Maud Gonzo in her relationship to W.B. Yeats.
I was just seeing that. I was just seeing that. And this is why he looks like he gets involved with the Golden Dawn, because of her.
You got it, buddy. You got it. And
Oh.
she's hardcore with the French. She's actually chasing successful French upper class, but she also started many societies, and one society is called the Sang Fung.
This looks like Sinn Fein, right?
That's it. I can never pronounce it. They do that on purpose. But that society she started has actually gone on to the UK to take majority seat in Parliament.
Oh wait, this is the same thing. That's the same Sinn
It's
Fein from the UK.
I
It's the
don't
same
I
party.
don't I think it's there's some plausible deniability between the two, but I'm claiming I'm going to make that jump onto that speculative branch that yeah, they're probably the same fucking thing. And
No,
I
they're the
think
same thing. You're right. It's saying
okay,
it's saying it here. I think on
okay,
the yeah,
okay,
the
yes.
Irish Republican IRC or RIC.
Okay, yes. So they're doing pretty well for themselves, started by her. And I think that Nick Lang was hailing to that particular secret, whatever. It's not a secret, I guess, right? This society. I think he was hailing to them with his title, Fang Numina. And the whole world, 10 years after Fang Numina, the whole world feigned pneumonia and
Mm-hmm.
blamed it on a wombat from the fish market. You know what I mean? Yeah. Wuhan labs ain't nothing to fuck with, y'all.
Oh, dude, there's a lot there.
It's Irish. Yes. Thank you. James Kaplan in the house. Big love, brother. Or yeah, it's Irish. So she was Irish, but she was sleeping around with some of the upper class French folks. Okay. Hold on. Let's go. Things get interesting. You're probably reading it right now. You're probably
Are you
reading
gonna bring up the little dog too?
it. She was thrown in jail and walking around with some kind of ghost dog and
That's
something.
what I'm
You read
reading
it.
that.
You
Yeah.
read
Okay.
it.
So
Read it for us.
all right.
It's all coming back to me.
Let me see if I don't know if I'm reading the exact spot, but this was just like a quote by someone saying that Early this morning, we could see Maud walking majestically past our cell door, leading on a leash a funny little lapdog which answered to the name that sounded like Wuzzo, or Wuzzo, Wuzzo.
That is so trippy. It's so
And
trippy.
she was released on April 28th, 20 days after 20 days in custody. So she's basically there for a lunar cycle.
Interesting. Yes. Okay. I'm going to cut ahead, but catch it. Let me know if you find this in the reading. So she ended up. She rejected WBH quite a few times actually, and in the end, once they were much older, he tried one last time, and when she rejected him, he said, "Okay, well, I think I got a thing for your daughter, and I need your approval." He frickin' pulled that on her and made a move for her daughter when she said no the third time. So Maud Gonzo ends up having a child with somebody else, and maybe another child. She has a child with I think this French fella, and it passes away. And she's so downtrodden because of it that she actually schedules and sets, and they break up. But she sets it up. She woos him into a negotiation where she meets him at their child's sepulcher, the mausoleum of where they buried their child. I think it was a boy. And she times this meetup so she's extra fertile, and they conceive a new child in the burial plot of their old child.
Whoa, yeah, no, the guy Milvoy is the husband.
Right. And it works. It takes. And so they made a new child right on the coffin of the old child. I'm pretty sure this was getting signaled in American Gods with the dead wife. When the dead wife goes into a sepulcher and there's some karmic passing around going on. But this legend is kind of like euhemeristically expounded upon, and it gets only more and more sensational over time. But just imagine if our guy Charlemagne, is that right?
Timothy Chalamet.
What if he is a leapfrog from that baby?
Dude, and it's supposed to be too, they're saying to transfer the soul of the dead child into the new one, which is,
yeah,
I mean, we got all the necromancy, like,
yeah, man, it's not even enough that we would assume that. It's that they actually say that was their intention.
dude. I wouldn't doubt that Charlemagne.
Yes.
100%. 100%.
And so some bloodline from this necromantic insemination rite that took place is rocking the spirit of Bob Dylan. And now I'm going to go the distance, bro. I'm going to go the distance. They obfuscated Bob Dylan's origins in the film. They almost make it look like Bob Dylan might be part of this bloodline.
So you have that. You also have, this relates back to what we were finding last time about the Banshee, the whole Banshee connection. This is the Irish ghoul, female ghoul, the witch, basically. The screaming witch who does this weird transmigration of the soul of Ireland, I guess, but it's almost like a gender swap as opposed to that's happening, it seems like, because it's like the angry Irish female is what's being thrown into the American mythology, which is strange.
Yeah, you got it, buddy. And didn't you kind of ping on some mythical threads about the banshees, a certain derivative of veneration for the banshee, a very specific one?
It was an Irish one. I can't even remember the name of it now, but it related to like the goddess worship that we see everywhere, like this weird prima materia connected worship. Right. But even in like the name of the Daughters of Ireland, which looks like it's in the Irish tongue, like the I guess the Irish language or the Gaelic, it's one of the two. But this seems like how a lot of the secret societies like the OTO and Golden Dawn would write some of their more code language, like when they were doing like stuff based on gematria. It would look like this.
Right. And you've pointed out that one of these sects has a penchant for targeting homosexuals as almost
Yeah, yeah.
like kind of like
That was the main one we had found about the main banshee female witch myth we had found from Ireland was
yeah.
it was like if you were not married after or you had done something where you weren't married or were homosexual or had broken vows to your wife,
Yeah.
then the wife could like basically have you, I guess, have you put to death or have you punished very severely. Yeah.
Yes. So I think I'm seeing a trend along those lines in modern day. You know, we could kind of point at the smiley face cases and the order ONA cases. They seem to be targeting the homosexual population. And so, yeah, maybe in our next research rabbit trail, we should like dig into some of these cults with that. I think that's a good fundamental because, the Biden family is Irish, right? His mother was Catherine, and Catherine is one of the mantles for these secret societies.
Yeah.
It's a mantle of Hecate.
Dude, there's a lot here with this woman. There's a lot here.
With Maud Gonne?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I think they depicted Maud Gonne openly in the Loki series. The general commander, and she was even the Empress card, actually. Maud McBride Gonne. Hold on, let me grab this card.
There's something else I'm even thinking that they openly represent her, and I can't even think of it now. But if I could think of it, I'll bring it up.
So this card has a wedding veil. You can see it's draped over her, the whiteness of her shroud. But it's also, this is the Millenniagram Falcon too, which is really, it's from my, it's the Millenniagram Falcon, and then the swan at the bottom. That Cygnus constellation is in the shape of the Luke Skywalker's whatever flying is it an X-wing? I think it's his X-wing. Is the exact shape of the Goose constellation. So we have I think this might be actually
Yeats apparently, or Yeats, I mean, did a Yeats. Just because I'm reading instead of thinking. Yeats he did a poem about it, right? The Lydian body, the Leda and the Swan, basically.
Leda and the Swan. Thank you. It's a beautiful poem, but these guys are freaks. It is a beautiful poem. I really like his poetry. And he and Crowley were rivals, and Crowley came to overtake the OTO at a particular lodge and changed the locks on Yeats, and then there was a big wizard showdown in the streets.
Well, this is apparently isn't this like what a lot of I want to say it's like a lot of the myths that are either behind like things like Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings are like related to these fights they were having. Either the myths behind it or leading up to it. Yes, and it might have even been closer to Harry Potter, because Harry Potter kind of makes more sense to being connected to what was going on there. Because you have these lodge boys who are all fighting, and obviously one is more evil than the other, and yeah.
Right. Yeah, this one is called the Battle of the Blythe. And I got to point out, Blythe was Bill Jefferson Clinton's original birth name. It was William Jefferson Blythe. And it's also Drew Barrymore's middle name is Blythe. And Drew Barrymore, I think she's entangled to this card. I think either this one or the star card. But McBride is Maud Gonne's name.
She kind of has this vibe when she's in the Donnie Darko film with the way she's. I wonder if now I have to see if that's how they dress her up.
Oh wow!
Drew Barrymore, Donnie Darko. Let's see.
Big love to world tennis, wildlife, truth fairy.
I mean, they got her in a mix of stuff. She's in all blackish, but she is screaming in the one scene. And it is interesting how the rabbit ears are on the title of the cover of the DVD.
This was my first time showing a comment ever. It was so much easier than I'd ever guessed. Big respect. Beyond nefarious, necromantic, rebirth, occulted intentions. Maybe trad rites, now not openly practiced, prior guidelined couples experiencing miscarriage to release versus attach their grief to the next child. That is fascinating. Those are two different worldviews. Those are two very significant worldviews. Yeah. And I'm gonna speculate. I'm gonna go on a branch. I'm gonna say, what if W.B. Yeats was representing a very trad, anti-homosexual agenda, and what if Crowley was coming in to rainbow the place up? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Does seem like that.
Yep.
But at the same time, remember Yeats is also he's tutored by where is it? What's his name again? Why can't I remember it?
Yeats is tutored by. I do know Yeats's code name was "God is the devil inverted." That phrase in Latin was his code
Owen
name.
Barfield.
Wait, who? What?
Doesn't Barfield tutor Yeats?
James Kaplan, we need a lifeline in the chat. Can you tell us if Owen Barfield was Yeats's school papa?
I believe he was.
Hibernians, Ancient Order of Hibernians. Here, I'm going to show more comments. Hey, y'all. Look, I can show comments all over the place now.
Oh, nope. C.S. Lewis. My bad.
Oh, who was, but that's very, we're right up against the Inklings, right?
Yeah, well, that's right. I knew he was an Inkling, and I knew that because Barfield is a homosexual. He was gay. But
right.
That's why if he was tutoring Yeats, I would have been like, oh, that's odd. But so then I think you're spot on then.
Sarah Lath, the right and left hand scissors in a duel. Oh, sorcerers. Scissors. Cheney says scissoring doesn't work, Zaralath. No, yes, you're totally right. Left versus right. That's fascinating. So,
dude. They had Drew Barrymore in Scream too, huh?
Oh, yeah. Scream is the painting from the...
She is this...
Hold on, I sketched out. Say that again. I had a little blip.
She is this archetype. You're right. She's connected to the mod gone.
Yeah. Okay.
Archetype.
So Drew Barrymore in Firestarter is not 100%. I'm not 100% on putting Drew Barrymore with this card per se, but in Firestarter, they have taken Freud's case study of a woman whose name was Ida Bauer. And that really does ping to this card because Chump is Orange Man Bad. His name is Trump. Trump is a Bauer in the game of euchre. This card is on Eureka, California right now. And down here, we have the other Bauer. And so Ida Bauer of Sigmund Freud's research had a lot of nightmares about the house is on fire. And she has to go in and save her father's artifacts. I think she helps her mom in the dream.
Dude, that's the book that Drew Barrymore brings up in Donnie Darko is about the house that's on fire and the kids just set it ablaze just to watch the world burn, basically. That's the whole story that she makes Donnie Darko break down.
Bro, we are tapped into some kind of neural network of the mass homunculus on a huge scale. That's amazing. I didn't know that. She's talking about Freud's case study that I think is actually the whole telos of what Drew Barrymore is in all of her roles. And I want to point Lucy Rose up, big respect. I want to point out that I've C.S. Lewis, if you move his middle initial, if you just pull it out and you just call him Cluis, there's a whole lot of clues along a lot of his biography and relationships through, because he died on the same day as JFK. Aldous Huxley and C.S. Lewis are death date buddies with JFK.
Oh, wow. Oh,
Yeah.
by the way, the book is named The Destructors that she
Okay.
brings up.
Wow.
And and apparently the main character in it, Trevor, who they call T, who like burns his house down.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That is something else. Well, let me just mention this. If this is, let me put it back on the map because it is spatially balanced. So if this is the Drew Barrymore, Ida Bauer narrative from Freud, he has a cathode. If that's the anode, then the cathode is over here with his other case study that is Wolfman, because this signifies the wolf constellation. And this is Crowley's beast with the lust card. Yeah, go ahead.
I wonder if Tom Green.
Whoa.
Because now he is like the.
Is he all Wolfmaned out?
Yeah, and it's interesting too because this book is made into a British drama series called Shades of Green, which that's way too much at this point.
Yeah, totally. And what's that? There's a anime or a kids movie right now. Is it Dog Man?
Is it Dog Man?
Or Wolf Man?
Let me see.
No.
It looks like Dog Man 2025. Yeah.
Okay, well, a lot of people are going to attach that to Sirius and the Dog Star, and that's all good. That's up here in the spring. That is coming up on the horizon. But the wolf constellation is in Libra because he's an outlaw. He's just south of the Libra, which is on the elliptical plane. So he's an outlaw. And Freud, his two studies are kind of balanced on the zodiac in a potent way.
You know, it's weird too because just continuing with this weird Tom Green, Drew Barrymore thing, it connects to what you were saying about comedy and the flipping of the comedy and tragedy.
Oh, whoa!
Because
he's
Barrymore is mostly in drama, I would say, and Tom Green is straight up comedy.
Straight up, yeah. And they were married, right? Didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she I feel like she probably ruined his life at one point.
Oh,
they were actually married.
Yeah. She ended up marrying a firefighter who died in 9/11, so she's got the fire starter through and through.
Ooh, I did not know that.
Yeah, she was just on Slick Dissident. I was talking about. I wonder if Drew Barrymore is going to come up in the news anytime soon. And the next day, she has her son in a celebrity, public, whatever, display of psychological operations, and she's talking about she lost a husband who was a firefighter in 9/11, and she's the fire starter Drew Barrymore. It's so meta, y'all.
Oh, what the hell? Wait, so she's saying she lost the husband in 9/11?
I think so. I might be wrong. But that's what I read. That's what I read that night. That was the first time I heard it. I might have a screenshot of it. Green-eyed crow, much love and respect.
She has way too long of a biography on here, but
Drew.
How the hell? I don't know. How the hell does Taylor Swift come up in all these people's biographies too?
Yeah, Drew Blythe Barrymore. In this Battle of the Blythe is going back to Crowley versus Yeats, and Yeats's muse throughout his life, his tortured, unrequited love, was maybe the ancient grandmammy of Bob Dylan. Maybe Bob Dylan proper, but definitely the actor who's played Bob Dylan recently. I wonder about Bob Dylan's genealogy. They made it obtusely mysterious in the film, but
that's not his real name is definitely different. It's not Bob Dylan. It's isn't it something Jewish?
Zimmerman? Something Zimmerman? Yeah.
I believe so. Let me double check.
Thank you. Yep.
Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan. Robert Allen Zimmerman.
Damn. Rugged. That's rugged.
Raz.
No way. No.
Raz, R-A-Z. Robert Allen Zimmerman. Raz. There it is.
Oh my gosh. What are we on about, y'all? What are we on about? Zeralath says, because Harian. Shh, shh. Yeah, man. A lot of J deviants in the narrative between the lines with all that. That's crazy. What's this?
That's
My Shri, the whole Blake and Justin drama is why Taylor is coming up. Huh?
I know what she's talking about.
Well, this is not.
It's not related to what we're talking about, but that whole thing that happened with Deadpool actor, what's his name? Well, I can't remember his name. Oh,
Lifeline from the chat. Lifeline from the chat.
Someone say the idiot's name.
Matt,
Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds and his wife, they messed with some director, and now there's going to be a huge lawsuit. You'll see it eventually. I'm sure it'll be televised like the Johnny Depp thing was.
Wow, man. Yeah. The very last scene of Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds has to go back and kind of do a deep fake of Captain America's confession, but he wasn't really. It was the actor that played Captain America in the role of the Flame from the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, when he played, because he played him,
right?
Yeah,
and so they're doing a meta rug pull that when he walks up, you're like, hey, this is Captain America, and then he flames on, and everybody's like, oh yeah, cognitive dissonance is fun. Yeah. Cognitive dissonance is fun.
So actually, this does connect, because what Reynolds and Blake Lively apparently did with this director was make sensitive feminist Deadpool, based it off this director, like literally gave him like a lot of similar characteristics, and then they have Blake Lively Deadpool come in from one of the other alternate universes and shoot him in the head by the end of the movie.
Damn, bro. Damn. Iconoclasm, like, of the highest order. Things are getting...
Because then in real life, what happened was she accused him of sexual harassment or something like that, but he had the receipts. And wasn't, so she was lying.
Wow.
And he tried to get him fired, apparently, whole thing.
Yeah, hashtag me too is code for pound me too, as in like pound me also.
But it's interesting the way how you mentioned, like it's like a form of magic, like it really is. Like
Yep, occulted self-mockery, and Codex Biparius. There's a lot of split tonguing. Yeah, a lot of split tonguing, because it means one thing to one ear and something totally the opposite to the other ear.
And you almost wonder how many times they've done that sort of trick, like where they've disguised one character as someone in real life and blew off their head or something like that.
Yeah, man.
I mean, because a lot of people apparently say they're kind of psycho, like they don't like them. There's a lot of stories about them.
Yeah. I was studying that William Blake thing, and I found out that Allen Ginsberg was obsessed with Blake, and Allen Ginsberg actually thought Blake had come to him in a vision and spoken to him multiple times with like extreme clarity in his true voice, and like recited a few poems to him and gave him all these instructions. And then it kind of went away. And Ginsberg was like obsessed for the rest of his life to become like a real authority on William Blake stuff. And then like crazy out of his way. And then Bob Dylan caught on to him. And Bob Dylan comes along and starts picking up what Allen Ginsberg was laying down and incorporating it into a great amount of his art, Bob Dylan's art. And this is really cool, maybe, because William Blake was the hero of W.B. Yeats. And W.B. Yeats was pulling strings in the social connections to graft William Blake into Irish royal blood. And some people who are hardcore William Blake heads are like, he would not approve of making it racial. like trying to streamline his work into a
Mhm.
certain royal house, and he wouldn't approve. And so there's like a necromantic estate
Yeah.
grafting that W.B. Yeats tried to kind of retcon Blake's blood as having sanguinity to W.B. Yeats himself.
That makes total sense. Oh my God. And what was the last word, by the way, of the dictionary? Do you remember?
Imagery. Oh,
Zimmerman Zimmerman. Bob
what
Dylan's real
is
name.
going on, y'all? He's arguing. He's arguing. The social engineers want us to be arguing. Damn. That
And
is so
and
funny.
his grandparents emigrated from Odessa, Ukraine.
Oh,
Odessa, Ukraine. And they were in the 1905 pogroms, or the programmed riots. Literally, the first time I seen that word was today when we looked it up before, and now it's showing up again.
okay. I know we're kind of. These people are barely 6 degrees away from each other, right?
Yeah.
Really? Okay. I want to go back to Maud Gonzo. She had proliferated in her time the weaponization of art to such a degree that if you go on, the lion's gate at the beginning of every film, they poke the
Mhm.
lion and right? Well, that actually used to say above it, art for art's sake. This is just art as it comes to us naturally for whatever's inspiring us with some kind of transparent, true intention. But then our girl Maud Gonzo, she has proliferated a new derivative of that, which is art for the sake of the altar. And this is kind of sacrificial, and I think it's militarizing the muses.
It's like The Conjuring.
Yes.
It's Conjuring. Yeah.
Yep. And I really do believe that, there is such thing as the free range muses. There is such thing as doing art for art's sake. But we're in a day and an age where everything is so twisted and weaponized that they can jack the muses and start making all your film and your education about othering, and then catch the off-gassing from it in a predictable social engineer's wet dream kind of way.
100%. And oh man, dude, there's so much with the Dylan. So it's his actual Hebrew name, Shabbatai Zizzle Ben Abraham.
Dude, he's gonna go down in a crossfire of archery with this. That's sabotage. Saint Sebastian. Saint Sebastian is a Catholic repackaging of Sabotage Zevi.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And his grandparents are 100% from this same area. This other the Rossetti guy from earlier.
Okay.
Same group of Lithuanian Jews. So he's connected to the Transylvanian whole thing as well.
Fascinating. Man, this is like the dangerous kind of topic to jump anywhere. It's like we found a very important thread, but there's something in. Okay, I'm just going to mention the Amish. I'm not trying to implicate or whatever. I'm not trying to do that. But there is something about anti-Baptists who have been accused also of being antinomialist, of being transgressive for transgressive sake, and not believing that you should baptize children before they have the age of consent. A lot of the things that the anti-Baptists are all about, I'm like, damn, I kind of agree with a lot of that. Yeah. And there's a strange connection point between being antinomialist and what Sabotage Zevi was all about. And Bob Dylan was totally transgressive.
Well, it's saying even right here that he's talking about the supernatural aspect of the dinky town and American folk music that he started getting into when he was at Sigma Alpha Mu, the fraternity that he was in, which is like a more Jewish centric. Sam. Yeah.
Sam. Oh my God. Wow. All right. I'm going to pop up. Is this Green-Eyed Crow? It's too bad. I do think they're both good actors. Ryan is hilarious, and Blake has done some good movies as well. But yikes on all the real life stuff. Yeah, that's ain't that something, Green Eyed Crow? Yikes on all the real life stuff. So much of this is, it's revelation of the method, but I'm also starting to see that I think a lot of revelation of the method is laying breadcrumb trails for future generations. Like I think,
Dude, there's so much weird stuff that goes on with this sort of co-creative like stream of consciousness that people start catching on to, and we start seeing, because it's like no one planned for us to look up, say, Bob Dylan right now after we were talking about Timothy Chalamet looking like a rat, and I said that Tim Dillon was the one who told me the guy who played Bob Dylan looked like a rat the first time I heard the story. He was the one who reported it. So,
Right.
and like you have that almost in the name, Bob Dylan, Dylan Thomas, which are the poems that he got the name from. I mean, it's even in the name of the two people, Timothy Chalamet and Bob Dylan. Tim Dillon is right there. But I didn't know they would connect. So
Yeah,
it's a weird, that's just there. That's that co-creative, the weird thing that's not planned.
big time.
And that might be a side effect of stuff that's already been put out there.
Mm-hmm.
But it
Yeah.
definitely isn't 100% planned, at least.
Yeah. I want to mention, you've mentioned this co-creative tapping in. And I just want to mention, this is the moon card. Let's see if I get a better light on it. Yeah, there's the moon card. And I believe that the moon card and the hermit card are both number 9. This is 18, goes to a 9. Hermit card's number 9. There's a lot of Alfred North Whitehead that I've unpacked through the research. And I think this little spark gap between the towers could be considered the concrescence. And the concrescence is, it's kind of the, James Kaplan would scold me if I got this wrong, but it's kind of the creative jump. And even it has a lot to do with the shared moment in how the visions of my thoughts somehow are actually unpacking into your thoughts with enough fidelity that we can keep this fire burning and carry the conversation. But it's also something that happens between a person and their art that they take in. And it is a profound thing that you can look at a piece of art and take in too much in just 60 seconds, that then you could talk for 2 days about what you looked at for 60 seconds,
Yeah. I mean, I've talked about this, I know, a little bit with James in the chat before, but a lot of this I learned about through this guy who I've told you about before, Jason Bickford.
Yes.
Who has a channel he used to have called Symbols, Patterns, and Gnosis. I don't think it might be up, but I think he just uses Substack now. Yeah. But he always would talk about this co-creative faculty in his art, that he would predict stuff based on like overlaying his own artwork and then overlaying old art.
Right.
And he'd be correct very often.
Yes. I remember him. He had a lot of really, he was onto Owen Barfield too, wasn't he?
Yeah. There's a lot of his stuff influenced me, because looking at things that way kind of helps with the black pilling, because it gives you somewhere to go.
Good
It
point.
gives you a way to look at the positive nature of things.
Right.
But now we have this AI art, which that could be a problem.
It's so fascinating. Yes. And, big up to Ronan last night when he did his AI open intro. That was badass. That was super badass.
It was so good. It was so good.
It was super badass. But there's a part of me that is also always going to rage against the taking the organic out of the process. But that's totally hypocritical, because I do shit on the computer too. Like, where is the line kind of thing with the AI? But I think my line in the sand with it, if I had, let's say I'm predicting where it will be a problem in my life, is I protest asking your machine, and also role modeling subservience to the machine, all the way down to the fact that you got to use these things to pay your taxes. You know, you're still answering to this machine, this Deus Ex Machina. And I do believe the X in Ex Machina represents the 10. She's the 10th muse.
Yeah. And I agree with you. I think it's like, it should be used as a tool. It's a tool, but it's not like a dictative tool, not one that you shouldn't be asking questions. You should be like getting support almost for things. Like if you're going to tell a story and use it as a tool to help you tell the story, it's different from having it tell the whole story.
Right. And let me pull the Deus Ex Machina card out. So it is the Wheel of Fortune card. Is card number 10. Oh, let's get the light. There we go. It's a little better. Card number 10. It's got a little hidden hand in the center of the wheel. This is actually only named Fortune on this deck. It's not Wheel of. It is only Fortune. But I think that oftentimes the general will of the masses is a different will from your biological drive. You know what I mean? And right there is another level of that split tongue by Parius. But it was Blake who wrote the poem about the dark satanic mills on Perfidious Albion. And Blake was, I think, making kind of the, what is it called? The British Zionist movement, or the British Israelites. That's what they're called. He kind of started the British Israelites. And to some degree, I think that what he started, the movement he started, I think W.B. Yeats came along and picked it up to carry that forward with an Irish spin. You know what I mean? Dark Satanic Mills gets a big fat hail to this card in particular. And it's got the Tyranian purple, but here's what's wild. The Tyranian Murex, the Murex seashell of this guy. There it is. That's a better picture of it. It's Murex purple. This is crazy because this card is off the shores of Myrtle Beach and South Carolina and Georgia, where the Murex purple comes from. And we just had a big fat fire in Myrtle Beach. Yeah, the Dark Satanic Mills indeed. And I think that the constellation would be Centaurus.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely Centaurus. It's right between, from Virgo into Libra is a very large Centaurus who's spearing the wolf, Lupus, the Lupus constellation.
Dude, I can't. I think I don't think I can let go of the Barrymore thing yet because for some reason in the Wikipedia, they have specifically put up an interview where with a website where she's mentioning contactmusic.com, contactmuse.com. This is from 2003. And it's all about sexuality, but right after this they talk about how she's the godmother of Francis Bean Cobain, Kurt Cobain, and Courtney Love's daughter.
Whoa, what? She's carrying the Cobain trauma? Dude, we should not be resonating to these people. We should not be resonating to their vibratory frequency.
It's weird, man. It's weird. There's a whole big thing about the word never, because she says she's never getting married again, but that ties on to the Maud Gonne sort of Irish Republican woman type of idea.
Right.
Like the very strong, like overly masculine, feminine in a way. And they even spell out never, N-E-V-E-R, in huge capital letters on the Wikipedia, like after saying it 3 times in the quote that she says.
Yeah. Split tongue by Parius indeed. I think Maud Gonne ends up being a widow, notoriously widowed. And
I might have just lost you.
Hold on.
Oh, you're muted.
There we go. Thank you, buddy. Thank you. I think
let me see. Maybe it's just me. Can anyone else hear him or no?
Give me a 5x5, chiggy check. No.
chat.
How about that? Am I back?
Here, I could put it on. Let me try. What did they say? They can hear you? All
Okay.
right, I'm going to change my audio to my
Okay.
computer.
Cool. So yeah, I think Maud Gone was a notorious widow
What the
in her.
hell? Why did it just do that? Did everything just get... Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yep. I can hear
This
you.
just changed everything on me. It switched my settings to my mic being on my computer.
It's the Maud Gone ghost. Maud Gone in reverse is
me hear you.
Enneagram. I can. I hear
Damn,
you.
I still can't hear you.
That is weird. They're jamming the signal. I'm back. Yep. James says I'm back.
This is bizarre, dude.
Dang. You know what? Let's kick you out and come back in. Let's see. Should I draw it on a note to him? No, now I can't hear you at all. Nope, nothing. I see you talking, but I don't hear you. I see you, but I can't hear you. Yeah, buddy. You got it. Zeller Morales Z. It's what are they called? 88,200, 82,000. Somebody's Peter tingle is a little too much.
Nothing, man.
Now you're good. Now you're good. Now I
You
hear
can
you.
hear me.
I hear you.
I can't hear you, though.
Damn. Those buggers.
Here, let me hop out the studio and I'll hop back in.
That's it. That's it. Yep. Big love and respect, everybody. Thank you for joining us for this technical moment. Be sure to check me out at slickdissident.com. I got onesies and zippos and all kinds of fun stuff. Got a new couple of t-shirts. If you go to the slickdissident.com and find your way into the store, at the very top of the store is a couple of my new designs. Please have at it. All right. There you are. Is it good? No?
I still can't hear you. What the hell?
I hear you. What have I done? Maybe I
Hold on.
selectfully.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
Dude, I have no idea what just happened, but sorry about that.
All is well. All is well. MIC. Military Industrial Complex. Spells mice. That's something.
Absolutely.
It's also the abbreviation for the microscopium constellation. And there's something of I think that the history of the microscope goes back to Athanasius Kircher. And I think regulating science at large, keeping a death grip on the god of the gaps that we call scientific advancement, I think this is really the root of Roku's basilisk. I think a lot of this MIC signature going back taps into the concept of the prophecy of a singularity in the future. The Leibnizian optimistic prophecy of singularity in the future.
I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. Hold on. All right.
Nice. I still got a little echo, but I don't mind.
it.
I don't mind, but I don't want the. Sometimes it's worse for the chat. James says I got the D'Artagnan look.
There we go. There we go.
It actually just got way bigger.
Yeah, it should. Oh, it's bigger now?
Way bigger.
What the?
Yep.
How about now?
Chiggy, check. There we go. That's good.
There we go, right? That should be
Yep.
good.
All right.
Jesus, man. It's not, I don't know why the heck that just happened at the end like that.
All is well. All is well.
Hopefully I wasn't on my computer microphone the whole time because that would be disappointing. So I don't think I was. It just flipped.
Lucy says, I'm watching you on a Roku player, pretty singular device. I don't know exactly what you even said. But
Roku's basilisk, right?
Oh.
That's what she's getting at.
Very fascinating. Yes. So if you look up Athanasius Kircher and the discovery of the microscope as it's described to us, some of the terms that they use to identify microorganisms for the very first time are like basically extremely psychosexual terms, like penisicles and obelisk balls, obelisk balls and penisicles, and you never see penises, and there's all these super uncomfortable terms used to describe the earliest microorganisms. And I think this is how the church occults things and has been doing it since the first microscope, that they make it sound like something blasphemous, something provocative, so that it you have to overcome your cultural biases just to work your way into the clique.
Well, this is like what is the Satan microscope or the telescope? Like that's like an example of this. Even I don't know if that's what you were referring to. Yeah.
No, that's the same modus operandi. They have to name it something really defiling, really uncomfortable, because the only people who can make it up into the blackmail industry that we call university is to give up your yourself. You have to kind of let go of your comfort zone, but increasingly so to a weaponized degree anymore, until you're diddling kids, right?
Yeah. It's it reminds me of like when that film, the Ballard film, Tim Ballard or whatever the hell his name was, who did the Bells of Freedom or Sound of Freedom.
Yeah.
And when the actor was giving his interviews and saying how he watched an hour of the footage, like it like really made a lot of people uncomfortable.
Wow. Yeah. I don't know. I always assume people know what Roku's basilisk is. And also it's the kind of subject matter that you almost feel bad for telling people for the first time, because once they know about it,
doesn't it have something to do with Pascal's wager? Why am I like,
yeah, it'll tie into that. And it's basically that the singularity is an inevitability, and that it's been here all along, and it's building itself out in reverse. It's actually coming backwards through language to fulfill its own prophecy, going backwards through time.
oh wow.
And it operates that way because the secret societies are all in on the click. And so your life will actually be spring-loaded by anything you choose that works towards its occurrence. And anytime you work against its occurrence, somehow your life hits a brick wall. Well, that basically has been deifying the cash fraud all this time. Your entire life is developed so that you're always working to the benefit of the Tao-made rituals, who are making the cha-ching off every decision you make. And if you go against the system, then somehow shit really sucks for you. But all of that is how Roku's basilisk would totally self-manifest.
This kind of reminds me of was it Ong's hat?
What's that?
It's a thought experiment where that was like a alternative reality type of a game or story, where like there was a story put out. I think it was supposed to be taking place in the Pine Barren area of New Jersey, and these scientists were doing experiments in the secret lab and apparently found an alternate dimension, and it was put out like it was a real story.
Okay.
And then people were following it, but then parts of the story started manifesting kind of in reality when they shouldn't have been. Damn,
that does ring a bell.
Yeah. So it kind of sounds a little bit similar to that.
Well, I'm gonna
Ong's hat, I believe. ONG. I think
ONG.
it's that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ong's hat. I'm gonna look into that.
It might be Hong. Wait, let me double check one sec. Yeah, ONG.
Okay. Huh. Makes me kind of think of Hume's razor and the is-ought paradigm. just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like Hume's razor might be played into the prophecy of Roku's basilisk. And then what's the Occam's razor might also be kind of in the play to some degree, that simplifying people's analytic capabilities. So if Occam's razor, if that catches on too much, then anything elaborate is automatically camouflaged. If everybody is thinking that if all things are equal, then the most simple of answers is scientifically the most likely. If Occam's razor catches on and goes viral, then anything elaborate is automatically camouflaged for generations. I just love these great thought forms that we get to do experiments on to look back at how the hell we got here.
Well, this the Rocco's basilisk this thought experiment.
Yeah.
I mean, it connects so much to like what we're kind of seeing, even with like the Epstein stuff.
Yes.
Like it's like living in a culture of blackmail that never actually pans out to be anything that we can actually have tangibly.
Right.
Because it's actually all aimed at something totally different that we have no idea is going on.
Big time. Realizing that the blackmail industry is, I believe, this is just some of the things that I've said before, and I may not be perfectly accurate, but I think I'm very close to accurate to say that when what law considers equity, the cleaned hands of equity, I believe that is a legitimate life path for the incredibly affluent who are above what in Plato's Republic was called the auxiliaries. The auxiliaries are like the security state. They're pretty much the police and anybody that we see on the public stage. That's the auxiliaries, yes. But there is a layer above that we will never know their names. We're lucky to even have a clue they exist. And they operate in equity because they pull the strings of who gets a mantle, who gets a costume, who gets what uniform, who gets what accolades, and who can name drop at a high enough level. And if you name drop at a high enough level, a lot of heads turn. And so I call that the dimension of equity. It probably is also like eudaimonia. It's the floating island that it's the Laputa of Oliver Twist. And it's the Jeffrey Epstein island that everybody is, wash, repent, rinse, repeat from previous generations.
Yeah, probably overly obsessed with the island when they should be looking at something else too.
True. I got a couple more graphics I think I sent to myself I want to share.
And before I forget, dude, when my headphones went out, you were mentioning something about Mod Gone, and I wanted to hear it.
Oh yeah.
Was it? It might have been based on what I was saying that you were going to offer something. I think different. Where I was probably going to agree with what you said.
Okay,
I feel like I know, but
I think I remember. I was mentioning that Mod Gone spent her last days, I believe, as with a certain infamy for grieving her lost husband, or no, for grieving her child. Maybe that's it. She spent a very long time grieving her child. But I just want to mention that, much like the same thing we're looking at today, where all of it is actually an act for the sake of people perceiving her in a certain light, for provocation. She's totally doing art for the sake of the altar, And so, her grieving is kind of notorious. And it is kind of dangerous. Like, I don't want to use the word banshee as automatically implying that antagonism to homosexuality. You know what I mean? I can see where people would do that right away. They'll be like, "Oh, but the Banshee sect was all about stringing homosexuals along and then snatching them up in a ploy." Much like the ONA and the smiley face story. So I think it's important that we talk about it as the Banshee, but a very particular Banshee. It's not.
It's interesting too, because if we look at her, then we look at someone like Drew Barrymore, if she's playing out the archetype, then someone like Barrymore co-opted it because it wasn't. Right. That's not the purest form of this gone archetype, which is actually more like a Republican female who wants to be married and have a child and have a family. It's like, but wants to marry who she wants to marry. So it's kind of like the modern Republican.
Good point. Yeah.
But then you get Drew Barrymore, who's saying she's never getting married again, which is the opposite of that. But she wants a choice, but she's never getting married again, and actually is more than leaning towards like the bisexual stuff. So it kind of flips.
Yeah. And man, it's okay. Wow. Yeah. It makes me think of a great many things all at once. Like the Lilith archetype is said to have dominion over miscarriages or aborted children. And everybody talks about Moloch and all that. I want to talk about Lilith. I want to stay on the feminine aspect of this. And it really is profound to think about a complete a split in how you perceive the soul after it passes. Where one person believes that whatever the next child is that comes out of that woman is a whole different soul. But then other people might have a whole another way of framing it, where they think that this child is actually carrying some kind of karmic weight from whatever that first child was. And that's extra complicated if it's two different daddies. That really complicates it if it's two different daddies.
And they had, what was the name for it too that they were calling what she was trying to do with her child, the meta? It was like there's meta right in the name, which I think is interesting because it's like a consciousness transfer.
Big time, man. Totally makes me think of the vacuous. I think that's just the perfect word. We don't even have to call them anything else. The vacuous, people who have made a sepulcher of themselves.
Yeah.
I'm
trying to look for the word, but I can't even find it anymore.
Let's see. So I'm going to do a screen share that maybe kind of sets up some of the other weaves, and then some of the weaves I think I'd love to build out next time we get together and maybe get PK on board.
Absolutely.
Okay. So bear with us, ladies and jellyfish. Here we go back into the Museum of Slick Dissident. All rights reserved. So yeah, big love out there, Zaralat. I know you were digging this when I sent it to you. This is so funny. We had just talked about Riza and Gonzo, and then this comes out. And also the same day that this happened, by the way, there was a break in the case of Tupac. The guy who they say Tupac did it, he's screaming at the top of his lungs. He was set up and he took money to take the fall, and it was actually the person everybody thought it was all along. So I think there's the rat race part of it has kind of an implied racism, but also Theos is the word for planets. It's the word for racers. And so again, with the influence of the stars coming through your windows and giving you viral videos.
Remember that Speed Racer weave too? That actually looked just like that.
Dude.
That looked just like that Scream card, the Scream painting, same color scheme.
Because he's got his hands on his cheeks, just like the Scream.
And the colors are exactly the same.
That is so true. Okay, hold on. Let me start this weave from. Wait. Oh, what happened? Oh, how did I? Oh, there. Okay, let's start here. Okay, so if I think I put this out on my YouTube. That Scooter from the Muppets is Bill Gates, and the art card that is many other female co-masons. The sleeves are rolled up on the art card, and that is a symbol of the co-masons. With that, Lady Frida Harris, the artist who made the art cards deck herself, was a co-mason. Her code name in the Masons was the hosts, No, just host was her code name. It translates to the word host. Well, you put the S from the end of the word host in the front of the word host, and you get the word shot. And so everybody took the shot. That is her card, is the art card that this character from the Muppets is depicted on. And he is a Billiken that is the Joker's primary principal, whatever, little totem spirit. This Billiken. So Kill Bill was totally a provocation spell for vigilantism, right? Particularly with women, a pissed off woman who lost her child. You know, she was made into a banshee. And in the end, we find out her name is Beatrice. Beatrice is the spirit of the Dante's Divine Comedy. Dante Alighieri was drawn into the underworld by command of Beatrice, who was the author's childhood love interest. His unrequited love from childhood was Beatrice. So right now we got the Zizians, and I highly recommend everybody check out the Occult Rejects. They did an incredibly detailed breakdown of the Zizian death cult agenda, which I'm smelling that banshee fingerprint, Chris. You know, that whole lead people on with some sort of whatever promise that being not yourself is the best way in this world.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yes. And so these people are all identifying as something confusing, and they call themselves rationalists. And I think that they were predictively promulgated into an inception spell that we call Kill Bill. Kill is, okay, so the word kill is K-I-L-L. K is a number 2. Because it's 11, it's also a number 2. Well, the word bill starts with the B, which is also a number 2. It's the same word twice, and it ends with the word ill. Ill.
And then I remember when you first had this, I think you mentioned this first on the show with Sarah, right?
You got it, buddy.
Yeah,
Yes.
and then that same day, it's right underneath when you were discussing it, I'd seen the Bill Burr, Billy Corrigan incident being discussed on Joe Rogan, our disseminator of half-truths. And because I don't know if you know but what that whole incident is. Apparently, like, they're half Bill Burr and Billy Corrigan are half brothers or something, and Corrigan brings it up in an interview and with Bill Burr there, and Bill Burr gets all pissed off.
Totally, man. Yeah.
But it's just like overkill Bill at that point. It's over. You know what I mean? It's like too much Bill.
Fucking Bill again. It's Bill again.
Yeah, Bill again. Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
it's like so it's subtly there, but it's there.
Yes. Well, these gestures, that's totally their style. They got a real stiffy for Shakespeare and all of the double, triple, quadruple entendre.
Oh, dude. Bill Burr was the first guest on Tom Green's podcast.
Oh, damn.
There's something going on.
Damn, man. Okay, yeah. Well, so in light of the triple, quadruple entendre, like, it has all of the meanings that it's almost like they have to fulfill every meaning in one way or another. Then that is the nature of the babushka dolls. Kind of reminds me of orgone. Layers of organic and layers of inorganic.
And did you hear? I know you watched the Tate interview and I watched the first half, but he was saying, I'm throwing out orgone. I'm getting orgone. I made up that word. I made up the word orgone. I'm like, you don't make up the word orgone. No one's going to call him on this. That orgone has been around since at least, what's his name? Wilhelm Reich.
Yeah,
like,
buddy. Yeah.
He was acting like he made up the word, and they're all just listening to him saying, I take your orgone, you give me your orgone, I take your orgone. Like, what?
Yeah, man. He's arguing. He's arguing everybody's knowledge of reality. So this scene was so on the nose, and it is the opening scene, pretty much. This is her first kill where she goes in and takes out Copperhead. But I want to, let's see. I just want to be sure. Which way? There. Okay. I just want to be sure everybody who knows Kill Bill, this is not the main character. This is California Mountain Snake. That's the bad chick. She's the one who comes in with the nursing gear and almost kills the main character, the main heroine. And this is Uma Thurman. So there is, I'm still sussing out who I think Uma Thurman is. I could see her being Marjorie Taylor Greene. And if we get Marjorie Taylor Greene plugged into the Zizian death cult or the trans agenda in a major way, I think we have a real firm case to put Marjorie Taylor Greene as the mystery machine, Misty Mary Jane, this Beatrice character. And I just want to point out that in this fight where she and Copperhead, who wishes her name had been Black Mamba, I should have been Black Mamba. She, one of the next lines, she says, it is mercy, compassion, and forgiveness that I lack, not rationality. That's Uma Thurman's line. These Zizians are from the CFAR, the Center for Applied Rationality. That is their modus operandi. And our girl Uma Thurman was throwing a hail sign to the CFAR when she went into the house to kill the matriarch of the Bells family.
Oh shoot!
That was
right, dude. Right when you brought, I'm like, what the heck's this reminding me of?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is the Manson murder, Charlie's Angels. This is Charlie's Angels and the Manson murders.
You got it, buddy.
Because Charlie sends his angels in to do.
Yes.
So
yeah, man. So I'm looking for myself. I think we can talk about the hippie movement was paralleled and then shit coded by Manson. I think we're seeing it happen again to the trans culture and community that Anthony Fauci is kind of a godfather of because he gave everybody AIDS. Mm-hmm. He gave them AIDS. And so their victim culture is like, woo, let's get some more. So he's kind of the Pied Piper of the rainbows in a super sick and twisted sadomasochistic way. And in the opening lines of Kill Bill, in the very opening when Bill actually shoots her, he says, I bet you think I'm masochistic. Well, I want you to know that I'm not. This is me at my most sadistic. And he's being very specific about the difference between sadism and masochism in the opening lines. So this is a thread I'll be building out as our future weaves because I actually went back and watched both the Kill Bills 1 and 2. And I'm going to say it now. I think Tarantino, Wonton Quarantino, I think he's going to maybe make a number 3 or another derivative that is just reincarnations of the same shit.
I see. I wish I had seen the Kill Bills, man. I've only seen parts of the first one.
Really?
It throws me. Yeah, I should have. Okay. I should watch them, but because I know there's so much. There's so much, and it's also like just odd having the connection with her because of her connection with what's his name, Weinstein, and like how this was like the kind of breaking point. It seems.
Yes, it really is fascinating that the characters are. What's the movie with Woody Harrelson where he Natural Born Killers?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's like we're seeing some kill cults, some kill culture, but that for people who are just going to garner all the admiration, keep the spotlight on them, and make sure that there's too much to talk about, so that all the rest of the people that are actual human beings are not heard. They are not heard. You know, the word din, D-I-N, it means an extremely loud noise that it's hard to hear over. And that's what I see the people on the globe stage providing. They give us so much to talk about and so much sensationalism that nobody who is actually not from the Actors Guild can even get any airplay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Big love, y'all. Black Pill Buffet on offer tonight. I hope everybody's feeling their immune system nice and healthy with the daylight shavings time. Let's see. Oh, man. Good call, Kaplan. That's shoot. Okay, I'm putting that on my maybe list. I'm being more Epicurean with my film consumption nowadays, though.
Well, and that's also, remember, that movie is like a rewrite of the history because it's not accurate at
Right.
all to, I mean, the history we have is not accurate at all, but
Yeah.
even that doesn't follow the mainstream story. They have Tex as a stuntman who stops the murders.
Totally. Deserda's talking about the people, the smoothies, the guys that go around with the smoothies like a bunch of Ken dolls. I think Ken doll day is coming up, y'all. You know what? Ooh, let's weave a little on the eclipse. But what else was on your mind? Were you going to say something else?
I was just thinking. I didn't know if you had any other images too that you wanted to throw up about this before we moved on. There's something with the psychiatry weave that I know is going to pop up with like Peterson and stuff. But
Oh, yes. That's a great point. So yeah, let's kind of we'll come back on the Zizians and okay, but I guess I might have trailed off without saying it. So we know about the Mansons hijacking the hippies. I think the Zizians are hijacking the Fauciists, the trans Fauciists. But I want to know what the equivalent is to the folk movement of the Germans. I wonder about because the folk movement was like a back to the earth, uh, and very rural. They were a very rural culture, kind of like the country movement here in America. But I wonder who was their version of a Charlie Manson, and I bet there were quite a few versions that happened to the German folk movement because I see these Zizians as kind of just unpackaging the same playbook over again. Oh, and wait, no, I do have one more. Oh no. That graphic that I showed with Uma Thurman fighting Copperhead, that community was funded by Sam Bankman-Fried. Yeah. That CFAR is actually owned by Sam Bankman-Fried. I forgot to weave that into the mix. And Sam Bankman-Fried is the rat talking to
yep.
to Gonzo.
Dude, I didn't know that Thurman's daughter was named Maya. Like a strong illusion or delusion, basically, which is what anyone who has the gender change basically has to look forward to.
Damn, you're right. Strong delusion of, yep. Ooh, that is something else. Does she only have one kid?
Let's see. Of course, I have to go back up to click on her name. Uma Thurman. It says 3, including Maya and Lavan Hawk.
Whoa.
So
cool
I guess
name.
that's one other one aside them too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna share the some
Oh,
interesting.
she's married. She married Ethan Hawke. Oh, weird.
Oh, that
That's
explains
fine.
it. Okay. Huh. Wow.
And she was married to Gary Oldman before that, which is also weird.
Whoa. Their names are such contrivances.
Yeah.
Totally. Okay, I'm going to do another screen share, and I just want to kind of share some of the holidays from the 13th. I've pulled up some holidays from the 13th in particular, even though this lunar eclipse is kind of bridging the 13 to the 14. So I've been getting mixed signals as to the date of the event. But 314 is the number for pi, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
We just discussed this a little bit last night on the Ronan's podcast.
Yeah. Okay, so just remember everything we've talked about tonight, folks. Think about all the things you know culturally. And these are the holidays, plural, for March 13th of 2025. We've got Donald Duck Day. Donald Duck doged the bullet. Doge is a dog. It's earmuff day. Here's a dog with the earmuff. Donald dodged the bullet because it would have shot his ear. Here's the canine veteran Doge. Here's Ken Day. The smoothie eunuchs are Ken doll style. Look at how much occulted mockery is on this day. National chicken noodle soup.
And didn't we just have wasn't it just National Women's Day the same day it was something else?
Probably. It is really fun to look at how many holidays are happening every day and how they stack up to each other.
Yeah, International Women's Day, March 8th.
Okay.
Yeah, just passed yesterday.
Oh, wow. That is really something. And today we're kind of at like 3, 9, and then a 9 because 225 adds up to a 9. So we're at 399 today.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, jeez.
So this is
Crowley back reversed to the 9-3.
right. Yes, you got it, man. So this is March 13th, the day before, the day that the lunar eclipse bridges into the 314 of Pi Day. Here's Ginger Ale Day. Trump is a ginger, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
He's the orange man bad. He's the emperor card. National Good Samaritan Day. The Sam Bankman-Fried, their whole movement is called altruism effective altruism is his philosophical movement.
Yeah.
National Jewel Day, National Open an Umbrella Day. Umbrella is a symbol of the eclipse. The penumbra of the 14th Amendment is renowned. It means it has more connections than you could ever elucidate. National Riesling Day, Trust the Plan, Popcorn Lovers Day, World Kidney Day. The adrenaline is on the top of the kidney, and that's what we have coming up for 3/13, the eclipse holidays. Ain't that something?
Dude, wild.
Totally wild. All right. Okay. Whew. Much love and respect,
and we
everybody.
could keep going. We could keep going forever with this.
Yeah, they're going to have to shut down the entire internet because it's all here for the taking. There's so many people just don't want to dig in. I was thinking about a word yesterday. Let me see. Oh, priggish. Priggish is a the word pedantic. I was looking up synonyms for the word pedantic because it is to be abstruse, to be pompous, to be stilted, and it's also to be academic, to be arid, to be didactic, to be doctrinaire, to be Dunish, Donish, Donnish, dry, dull, egotistic, erudite. I wonder if that's the same. Yeah, I think that is the same. Erudite is to be well read. Yeah. Formal, fussy, hair splitting, learned, nitpicking, ostentatious, over nice. They're talking about the old way of what nice means. That's like the old way of using the word nice. Particular, pedagogic, priggish. That word priggish is, it's kind of standing out to me. And I probably do this all the time. I'm erudite as a mofo. Punctilious, scholastic, schoolish, or sententious. Very fascinating words. But when we get back together again, we'll be extremely pedantic on some more of these weaves as we bring a lot of research to the table.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of. I mean, they're saying even it's like a schoolmaster too, like a pedant. The old way of spelling it, pedantic with the TICK.
Right. Yeah, it has the ped, right? It's got the
Mm-hmm.
ped in the front. So it kind of has to do with the Leo, the muse of history. She was the muse of Pausanias in number 2 spot in the symposium. And he was the hardest of all the eulogies to stomach because he was laying out the format for pederasty for the Greeks. And I had to really was constantly getting over myself because it was so gross
Yeah.
to even see how this culture is so lauded still, that this Greek fiction, it's totally a fiction, but they're still lauded, even though the whole bedrock of their teaching curriculum was rooted in pederasty. And then
Mm-hmm.
once I got over myself, I had to realize, oh shit, it's even worse than I thought. Actually, when you take on a lawyer who is Pausanias, he's the only lawyer in the circle. You're actually in it's a pederastic ward. You're letting the lawyer bend you over and speak for you, and then they take you through these rituals for the finder of the facts, and then the doctrine of discovery takes hold.
Jeez. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could see why people don't want to go, like you said, they don't want to go that deep.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable.
Yeah, but I just love having discovered for myself and offering it up to everybody else that we should call lawyers, we should call them pederastic wards. I think that's in Shakespeare. They get a revolution sparked up, and one of the lines is like, "What now? I'll tell you what now. Kill all the lawyers." Kill all the pederastic wards. That's what's up. Let's have a jubilee, y'all. Okay. Just kidding. In Roblox. In Roblox. Okay. Let me pull up a couple of comments here. I see James Kaplan says pyramid schemes altruistic. Interesting. Yes. Yeah. So altruism is, I think, the remedial virtue of the number 4 personality type. Which is so edifying to think of how the comedian is the number 4 and how the remedial virtue of the number 4 is altruism, you know? But yeah, effective altruism was Sam Bankman-Fried's philosophical, whatever, pedantism. Let's see, Perslick's ritual, fact-finding ritual, tomorrow, purportedly anniversary of astronomers discovering rings around Uranus. Oh my God. That is too important. That is just too important. Uranus was played out by, what's his name? Zelensky. He was playing the role. Is that right? Yeah, he was playing Uranus. We're going to get some big Zelensky news tomorrow. World Tennis Wildlife Truth Fairy. They make it that way on purpose. Yeah. A Latin root word ped and its Greek counterpart pod both mean foot. Oh, right. This is cephalopod. They're walking in your head. You thought cephalopod means head walker, that these clams pull themselves by their tongue head, but it's also symbolic of they get in your head and move around. In addition, ped can also convey the meaning of boy or child. Right. Yeah. It's a hypersigil kind of. And I always use the word pedovore. I like the word pedovore a lot better. You know, it's vampirism.
Yeah. No, that's spot on, honestly.
Yes. Oh, you know what? World Tennis Wildlife Truth Fairy. I want to share with everybody how it was just like yesterday that it dawns on me that tennis season has the ball has to bounce on both sides of the net. That's the shape of Pisces. Where's my Pisces here? Right? It is so fascinating that it's tennis season and we're in Pisces, and Pisces is like a ball going boing, right?
Pisces is also the foot. I feel it represents the feet of the astrological man. Yeah.
Right. And tennis shoes.
Hmm.
Man, I love having been so oblivious to how important the zodiac is to really seeing what's going on in the world, that these sports are truly part of the sky clock. We've always been tapped into the sky clock. We just didn't have the language.
Yeah. There's something going on here with one of the other Transylvanian areas, but I'm going to leave it for now because I don't.
Yes.
I'm like trying to pull it out.
Transylvanian?
It's like Wallachia. It's Romanian, Transylvanian.
Oh man, our buddy Ronan would be jumping all over that.
Yeah.
That sounds like Ronanese. So James Kaplan, have you broke down the planets on the Enneagram? I have, and I don't. Wait, yes. Here it is. This is probably the best way to share it or to show it. But James, I want to say, my number one personality type is a strange drive to bend some of these planetary associations to my will. I think that there is a huge repairing of the ways of humanity if I were allowed forever to switch two of these planetary associations. So let me see if I can get without that. Let's see how that works out. Oh, can I let me make myself bigger. Let's do that. Oops, no, none of those. PK, where are you, PK? Here I am.
You're good.
Okay. So let's see if I can hold it. So yes, Mars is the number one with the I'm going to speak of them in their vices because I think that's the most relatable on the first layer because of course every vice has a remedial virtue, right? Mars is the number one, the with the vice of wrath. The moon is number two, Lucifer. And this is fancy. Now there is a connection going right down to Venus, number 4, to Lucifer, number 2. And right over here is number 8 is Saturn. So 2 and 8 is a time, that's a time metric. And it's the second perfect number, 28. But 82 is no number for lead. So there's a lot of consistency in these relationships. So yeah, number 2, pride, is the moon. And a lot of people don't see Lucifer as the moon. But I could go on and on as to why. And then we have Neptune is number 3, the vice of deceit. Number 4 is Venus. She has the vice of envy or Leviathan. Number 5 is Mercury with the vice of avarice or greed because of mercantilism, right? And then we have number 6 is Uranus. And a lot of people want to put the sun right there. But for some reason, in this Enneagram system, they keep the sun in the center. But Uranus gets number 6. And then comes Jupiter, number 7. Then comes Saturn, number 8. And then comes Pluto, the most slothful, the slowest of all the orbital bodies is Pluto, or Dis, or Hades, right? So yeah, those are the planets and the deified characters. And they fully, I'm quite convinced that that is a great breakdown of it. But if I could change the world, I would switch Saturn and Mercury. I would move Saturn down to the number 5 spot, and I would move Mercury up into the number 8 spot. And I think there's some both-anding that we could all do, but I think there is much healing in bringing Mercury into this activation position. As oxygen is number 8 on the periodic table, in Mercury and oxygen are highly correspondent to each other. And I think Saturn has much more to do with this melancholy, tragedian, greed. This keep to themselves kind of avarice. The avarice is very Saturnian in a very certain way. So yeah, thanks for asking, Kaplan. And I see a bunch of more comments, but I think we're going to wrap up soon, everybody. Let's see. Mars, Wrath, Ram, the Royal Arch Masons. That's right. Rage Against the Machine. Ram. Big ups.
The marathon, the rat race.
Big time. Big time. Like Snoopy always laying on his house. All right, everybody. Here, let's see. I got to bring you back in. Here we are. Big ups, brother. Let's see. Hold on. Let's try that. There, that's better. Thank you for joining me tonight, Chris. I'm glad you made it, my friend.
Me too, man. I had a great time.
Me too.
I think we got a lot.
Yeah, man. Happy daylight savings. Not really.
It's horrible.
Cut the end off of the blanket and tie it onto the other end of the blanket day.
It's like the least beneficial way to do anything is just like jump ahead. I hate it.
Yeah. It's also, daylight savings is really a huge revelation. It's so obvious on the face of it about sun worship, that this daylight savior time, it's totally astronomical. Oh, big love, my Cherie. Good night, my Cherie. And I see there is an esoteric switching of Mercury and Venus is why I asked. Oh, right. I'll talk on that very quickly. I got a great answer for that, James Kaplan. This esoteric switching of Mercury and Venus, they do say that, oh, damn. Dude, you're going to keep us here for another hour, James. Why'd you have to do that? This is the switching of tragedy and comedy, right? The switching of Mercury and Venus. Now, Mercury and Venus, if you're into the Gnostic informant circuit, Mercury and Venus or Aphrodite and Dionysus are the bedrock of Middle Eastern, particularly like some of that Old Testament vibes, some of those Old Testament vibes. And I think if they were going to Hellenize the Old Testament heads, they would totally be buzzing on the flip-flopping and sinking into their tragedy and comedy throughout generations. This is the leapfrog, where they switch the 4 to the 5, the 5 to the 4. So those who envy are up against those who are jealous. It could be, you could even say this is libertinism and this is capitalism, and then this is fascism. And there's even a little political spectrum around that down there. But yeah, and then this, James. Most people, even if they know their planetary arrangements, you say, which is closer, Venus or Venus or Mercury? And anybody who knows the solar system, the way it's told to us, they'll say, well, Venus is closer. She's the next planet away from us. But it turns out, collectively, over time, because Venus is slower, Mercury has already done 3 or 4 laps. It has spent more accumulative time in proximity to us. So the nuance of the question becomes even deeper than you'd ever imagine. So Venus is not as close to us in her orbit because she's slow. So while the turtle is going around the track, the hare is actually done a few laps around and has spent more cumulative time in proximity to Earth. And so there's a trick question of like, if somebody were to ask you which is closer, you actually have to answer with another question. You'd have to answer with another question by questioning the questioner. And so I think that right there is the esoteric nugget of switching Venus and Mercury through the ages and how people perceive and relate to them. Oh yeah. See, she says Mercury should always be closest. And that is, kind of how it maps out in the in the math at the end of the day. 88 days, 88 keys on a piano. Yep. Powerful stuff. Powerful stuff. All right, Chris, you feeling like wrapping it up, buddy?
Yeah. I gotta actually take the girlfriend to work in a little bit, in like 10 minutes.
Right
So
on.
perfect timing.
Right on.
That
Okay.
was great though, dude.
Yes.
Solid, so solid. So many things that, and we didn't even have a plan. So perfect.
Yep. I
Worked
love
out.
making these connections. And when we get back together and we bring PK on
Bring
board,
PK aboard. Yeah, we'll be
Yeah.
flying, bro.
yeah, we'll be driving in on this, building up our black pill immune boosters. We'll be zymergically building up our black pill immune boost. Big love and respect, everybody. Thank you for joining me tonight on the Slick Dissident Shared Artistic Expression. Much love, much respect.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, everybody get ready for that big eclipse. It's going to be potent. And I think the Pope's going to pop. Drinks are on me if he does.
Here we go.
All right, y'all. Peace.
Later.